Okay, Brian, whenever you are.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center for our Sunday event. First, we'll have a speaker. I'll shortly introduce Brian and his presentation. And in the second half, we'll have a healing session. As most of you all know, we respect all religions and spiritual traditions, and we always open with an opening prayer. Teresa, can you take us away?
Please, yes, of course. Okay, good morning, everyone. And let us close our eyes, connect with our breathing, preparing the body to relax and to receive, opening the heart, opening our minds. And we turn our focus and attention to our divine creator, first cause of all things, Mother, Father, God. And we come together fulfilling that mission of developing both our wings so we may fly more balanced, more rightly evolve more directly. As we educate our minds, become more knowledgeable, and as we open our hearts to each other in building fraternity, recognizing our interconnectedness and our need for each other in overcoming the obstacles that we must navigate in life. And we also are asking for prayers and guidance and direction from our presenter, Brian, today, and with his mentors and guides, that he be guided and directed in the information that needs to be shared and delivered, presented today. And we welcome all the spirits who have come not only to guide and protect this platform, but even those who have come to learn beside us. We say a big hello and welcome, and we humbly ask permission to begin with blessings and protection. So be it.
Yes. Thank you. Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center is a member of the United States Spiritist Federation. Beliefs are around scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of Spiritism. The Spirit Emmanuel taught us, knowledge and love are the wings for our spiritual evolution. Once again, for the event today, there'll be two parts, speaking, and I'll introduce Brian here shortly in his topic. And the second part is hands-on healing. I wanted to share the announcements now. Bear with me here. Get to it. All right. If you were to go to bshcenter.org, you'd go to this wonderful user-friendly website for the center. And under meetings and events, you'll find our events. First, you see Sunday service on the left from 10 to 11:30 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. Again, educational presentation followed by healing passes. Every evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our daily prayers, and it typically goes 15 to 20 minutes. And we invite everyone to share the positive thoughts for love for the world that we live in. And then you'll see book study groups for Sunday, the Messengers, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday. And as I scroll down, we also have fraternal counseling by appointment only. If you need assistance, please reach out to us through the webpage, or you can put your name and phone number in the chat here today, and someone from the center will reach out to you. And that's on Wednesdays from 4 to 7 p.m. Standard Time. Then on Mondays, we have a close event for members who are accelerated with their gift of mediumship that begins at 6:30. We begin it with an education to set the current for the second part, that is healing services for everyone that is on the Bazar Spiritual and Healing list. And if you wish to add your name to that list, just add it to the chat here, and we will add you. And if you're new to that, so on Monday evenings, beginning at 6:30 p.m., please just find a comfortable place, your little sanctuary with a glass of water. Maybe say a prayer, do a little meditation, and relax for the next couple hours. And you will be visited by the spirits, and your mentors will be with you guiding. Is there any other announcements that need to be made since I have been kind of away? No? Okay. All right. So, let me stop sharing. And Brian, if you want, you can load your presentation now as I finish up here. Okay. So here today we have Brian Vosberg, and he'll be covering the Maxims from Spiritism in its simplest expression. Be a little background of Brian. Brian is an American-born spiritist who has participated actively since being introduced to the movement in March of 2005. He has since become a speaker and presenter, having spoken at centers in New Jersey, New York, Florida, as well as past Spiritist symposiums. Brian actively advocates living the principles of the doctrine and living a moral life. Professionally, he is a licensed professional civil engineer overseeing state roadway construction projects in the Southwest Florida. Please welcome Brian.
Well, welcome everyone. Glad to be here, especially the first time here. We're speaking with your center, so I guess I'll have to change that to California going forward on the introduction. So when I was talking with Kiki, I came up with some ideas, and we sit there and says, well, let's do this one here. Very thin book, very small. Anyone that has had a chance to read this, takes about 3 hours to go through the entire book, and I'm only doing the small section in the back. So I copied and pasted all these maxims here with some minor editing just to fit it on these slides. So I won't have too many pictures, but one of the things that always appealed to me about Spiritism was how we can take the teachings of the doctrine and even the later teaching when you bring in the works of Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco, how the spirits around us give us some latitude, saying that you maybe can't get this now, you get it in later, or you may understand this better than you can understand that. And one of these things that I love with these meetings, these things where we bring other people together, is these opportunities where we can come together, share our ideas, share our points of view, so that maybe how I perceive one of these maxims is slightly different than how you would perceive it, but it may make that understanding even better. And this applies when we study the gospel, when we study the Spirit's book, and for those that are more advanced, or the mediums, and even Heaven and Hell, Genesis, and as I saw that we got the other books out series is outside of that, and also the Consular that was I saw mentioned in the announcements. So as we keep going with our studies, having this idea that we can back and forth take ideas and points of view is very beneficial to us, because it does deepen our understanding of how we take each of these maxims. Even though this is a very small book, there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of knowledge contained in this book that can be expounded upon. The fact that I'm only taking a few pages of this book and expanding it out into 40-minute lecture would be a testament to that. And I'm not even going to touch some of these maxims because of 40 minutes. There's so much here that we can do that makes this thing worthwhile to study in depth, take the time, and get everyone's opinion, so we can see how each of us sees something slightly differently, but it's not right, it's not wrong. It's because of our prior experiences, it helps deepen our understanding. With that, I'm going to kick us off with 35, the first of the Maxims. Spiritism essential objective is humankind's moral
Brian,
evolution.
sorry to interrupt you, friend.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on, but you're breaking a lot.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah, I don't know if you eventually have any, I don't know, earplugs or something. I don't know if that could help. Let's see. Thank you.
Yep. How's this?
Feels better. Let's see if it
Feels
goes.
better. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
So Spiritism's essential objective is humankind's moral evolution. Notice it's just morality. It's something I'm just sitting here reading about this. It's one of those areas that we don't really pay a lot of attention to in our day-to-day lives. I mean, we're learning how to learn a skill, learn a trade, learn, physical, materialistic things. And when you look at morals, it tends to be an abstract term. Doesn't, we don't see a moral. We see its impact, just like wind. As the wind is blowing through, we don't see the wind, but we see its effects. Same thing with moral evolution. We see the effects of living a moral life. We see the effects of not living a moral life. But there's things abound, many, many examples of how we can kind of see this going through it. And as we progress through humankind's moral and intellectual progress, as was mentioned to me before, the two wings of our angelical future. We always associate angels typically with wings. We say one wing is our moral and one wing is our intellectual. We got to strengthen both wings. Currently, our intellectual wing is much stronger than our moral. We do need to increase our strength. Moving on to 36. True spiritists are not those who believe in manifestations, but those who make the most of the teaching given by the Spirit. And it's one of the things that, as mentioned before during the announcements or something like that, we have the people that do interact. We do have meetings. But that's not the important part. The important part is the teachings that we receive. Teachings that are in Allan Kardec's book for the doctorate, the books of like Leon Denis, the Chico Xavier, Devaldo Franco, and all these others that have given us the gift of these wonderful teachings that greatly expand upon our knowledge of spiritual matter, of moral matter, and how it affects ourselves and others in our day-to-day life. So that we, instead of saying like, oh, I want to see a table dance, as what happened when Allan Kardec first introduced this, now they're saying like just seeing the phenomena, to understanding that the spirits see things from a totally different perspective from us, that they're not burdened by that. They're sitting there saying, hey, this is going to be very important to you. You may not see it because you're in the body, but as soon as you leave the body, it's going to have a tremendous impact. And the spirits, Joanna DeAngelis, and Emmanuel, Andre Louise, so many others, Spirit of Truth, have come to us and sat there and says, like, here, we're here to help you. We're here to guide you to make the pathway less painful, make the pathway short, to get to your intended destination, which is to be a divine being, to be on the order of Jesus, to be a perfect being. It's not going to be done in one lifetime. It's going to be done over progressive lifetimes. But you will get there. We're trying to help you, guide you on the path of the least amount of pain, the path that will get you there the fast. And that's something we should always be taking respect from these teachings of these spirits. So, oh boy, I highlighted number 37. Selfishness, pride, vanity, ambition, greed, hatred, envy, jealousy, and defamation are for the soul poisonous weeds that must be pulled up daily by the roots, which have as their antidote charity and humility. In the Spirit's book, I believe it's 996 or 993, we have that lovely thing from St. Augustine about know thyself. So I was sitting here thinking about this with when you sit there and you do the nightly review, can you sit there and go through your day to day? Did you make the best of your day? Does anyone have caused against you? Did you start to have people bother you, or did you become an enemy to someone new today? And did you sit there? Did you allow selfishness, pride, vanity, all these things up here? Did you allow that to get into your day to day life? And have you tried to take measures to take it out? Are you aware of these things that can sit there and not only disrupt your spiritual life, but it disrupts others? We see, I mean, take any of these things. You do selfishness, you steal from someone else. You hoard a resource for yourself so that someone else has nothing. We see vanity. It's like I have to look beautiful, or it's like I have to, my image has to be superior to yours. That what does that do? How does that improve yourself? May improve yourself materialistically, but does it improve yourself spiritually? And what does it do when you're faced with others? It's like what is their perception of you? One of the good things I've been reading about this is we sit there and you start assuming or start looking at both sides. So that are you sitting there looking at the first one? Are you looking at from your point of view, or are you taking into account the other person's point of view? Belief in Spiritism does no good unless one can say, I'm a better person today than I was yesterday, going right into what 37 says. And that is to make sure that we are paying attention and improving ourselves daily. What are we doing? Are we looking at these things, the greed, the hatred, jealousy, selfishness, and are we trying to get it out of our lives? One of the beautiful things I always loved about Spiritism that it brought into my attention is it brought my behavior to focus. When I used to go there and sit there and look around and sit there and say, hey, I could sit there and I could, if I put an effort, wonderful. If not, if I just sit there and go, I did my moment for the day and I'm gone. That's it. I've done my part. I've done my 1 hour at church. Doesn't improve yourself. Spiritism forces us to sit there and take a look at ourselves and say, what are you doing? To quote Jesus, do we pick up our cross and follow him? It's a burden. It's not going to be easy, but that's the point. We're supposed to continue to learn and to grow. I'm going to skip 39 and go to straight to 40. Earth's afflictions are the soul's remedies. We're given all these problems that we are working our way to work our way path through. And we sit there, and as mentioned here, blessed are the afflicted, for they shall be comforted. We need to go through and see how are we resolving Earth's afflictions. Let's bring up COVID from 5 years ago. We were hit with this pandemic, this plague, and everything else, and we did some very extreme measures, isolating, wearing masks, all this other stuff. It had some consequences and it had some benefits that came out of it. But one of the things that helped us to do was that during that time frame, we focused in on those that couldn't be a part of society. They were elderly, they were already sick, they had disabilities, and this ability of sitting there saying, how do we reach these people? How do we make sure that they have food? How do we make sure that they have communication with their loved ones? Right here, what we're doing right now on Zoom is a consequence of that. We we worked on improving internet communications. We improved face-to-face visual things over the internet. We've improved networks to allow this. We had set up programs like Instacart, Grubhub, these programs where it's like food can be brought to a person and put on their front porch or to so that they have the groceries they need to survive on everything else, even with this thing that where we had to distance ourselves. So we've been given these things, and as we get over them, as we start to conquer them, we see that how much we benefit from it. And that's what I was this thing I was looking at. Look at everything we've got going on today. Some of these things are complicated. Some of these things are very painful to go through. The vestiges of slavery, racism, a lot of these things that are all over the world cause a lot of conflict and pain. But we got to start figuring out the ways to get past it, get over it, put it in the dustbin of history so that we may be able to understand it. Yes, Tanya, you're right. We were more charitable too. So I am paying attention to the chat. And that's a huge part. Going back to one of the prior maxims with the humility and charity. So we are focusing in on that. We are trying to be mindful of our actions more so than we have in the past. And it will continue to grow that way. We're starting to see now the effects of what we do, that we can't hide everything forever. We can't hide bad behavior. That it does eventually come to a point where it will be addressed and that bad behavior will be corrected. May not be immediate, but it will be seen and it will be corrected. And that is part of it. We'll continue to see these afflictions be resolved in the future. During your afflictions, look beneath you and not above. That is, think about those who are suffering more than you. Today here in Florida, my center in Orlando, they do every other week, they do a help the homeless. And they start at 8 a.m. in the morning and they go all the way up till 3 in the afternoon, where they sit there, they prepare food, they bring in their donations of clothing, things that can be beneficial to to these people, so that when they come in, and it's not just the center, other people jump in, so that when they come in on these Sundays, there is a place where they get there's a paramedic unit that comes in and will give basic medical checkups. There's a shower. Everyone can get a shower. There is a portable laundry service so they can go and wash their clothes. The center makes food, so they all get hot food as well as sometimes we even have cold food. So we not only give them a plate of hot food, but and then we also give them like cold food sandwiches to go for them to go on, as well as having clothing, shoes, towels, things that that they need, and give it to them, as well as addressing, medical issues, things of this nature. So we think that our life has a lot of pain to it, but there's others that have maybe not the same pain, but they have different pains. And they may be having more pains. In which case, as it's mentioned here, look beneath you, not above. Go back to Jesus' teachings of the Good Samaritan. When the Good Samaritan came in, saw the person that was beaten up, takes him, gets him to the inn, pays for the inn, says, "Here, get him the help he needs and rest. If it costs more, when I come back, I will pay you the difference." So he went above and beyond to look over someone that had been hit in heart, especially this time in like earlier this year when we had the fires in LA, the wildfires. The amount of outpouring that came through that helped all those people that lost everything, that had their homes burned down, the people that came to and helped them get back on their feet, so that they were sitting there saying like, hey, fire is a terrible thing. To lose personal possessions, to lose your home, to lose everything, toys, all of that into a fire is painful to see, to lose those memories. And even though these are people that had jobs and everything else, who knows that in the future they may have to undergo more pain just because of this incident, where some of the things I saw in the post of it, it's like person had a home, had a job, everything, lost it all. Their company they worked for was also caught in the fire, so they lost their office, they lost their home, so they have no place to go to work, they have no place to go to. So that's a thing to keep in mind when we look at this stuff. How are we helping? And are they suffering more than you? Could it change in a moment? Can it change in a day? Maxim number 43. People are frequently the artisans of their own misfortune in the world. If those of you who are watching this have read through the Andre Louise series of books, you'll see that this one comes up a lot. And then even some of the other books are out there, Memoirs of a Suicide, some of these other books illustrate how we do have these things where our actions cause us our own misfortunes. It's karma, law of cause and effect, where we sit there and we reap what we sow. We reap a good harvest, we put good seeds down, we reap a good harvest. If we reap bad seed, or if we don't plant seeds, or the laziness and thing like this, it comes back and gets us. And that's one of the things we're sitting here seeing is like, we can be the cause of our own misfortune. So maybe we do need to go back and look. Lack of foresight, pride, greed. One of the other infractions of God's law that we did in the past that's come back to bite us. Did we steal as a child? And thus, when we see things getting taken from us, it hurts. But then again, we stole in the past, or we did something else. One of the other infractions out there, we broke one of the other commandments. Something to be mindful of when we go through and pay attention and realize, what did we do? Let's do that. Go back to that self-reflection. What was our part in having this situation be as it is? When we sit there and we really take the time to go back and think about it, we can maybe see the brushstrokes of that we put down in our painting of our own misfortune. And that way we can go back and sit there and say, okay, let's go back and go through this again. I remembered of back in January when they had the DeValdo movie out available on YouTube to go and watch that. And as I watched it, I remember the part about the one obsessor that wanted him to kill himself, the wanted to throw himself over the bridge, the one that hurt himself. And in the course of that movie, it did go on later on that when DeValdo adopts a little girl and makes her his own, and the spirit comes to him and says, "That's my mom." That's what we need to keep in mind of love. Can we put the seeds down? We reaped a bad harvest. Can we put down a good seed for a future harvest that's good? Can we start to repair our own misfortunes through good deeds going forward? With that, I go with this with number 44. Prayer is an act of worship. Just as we started this meeting today with the prayer, it's important to always be praying, sending the cell phone call to God. You get on your mobile and sit there and pray to God. To that way you keep the communication with him open. So that you're thinking about him, you're keeping him first and foremost in your mind. You're following through, keep God above all things, asking for help. That's also going in with the prior one, but with good messages, good seeds. Putting God first, praying for those that you see that are suffering, putting that thing, sending out that message and saying that you're thinking about them, that you wish them better, is a supreme act of worship. And it can be private, it can be public, but it's such a blessing to sit there and say, hey, I see the hurt, I see the pain. I'm going to send a message to God and saying, hey, God, I see this person over here who's suffering. I see myself suffering. I need help. I need strength. I need courage to keep going through this. Help me through this. I didn't have any on this one, but I just wanted to give a chance for people to sit there and read through these things. That way, everyone can have a chance to read the book. I know this is, for some, right now, this book's not available to print and as as an ebook. You can only get it in print when they do the limited runs for it. But I do encourage anyone, when they do see this book come out, they do try to get it. It is, because it's a small read. It's a good book for a lot of people who are new to Spiritism to kind of get an idea of the basics to it. Going on, Maxim 47. Good actions are the good actions are the best prayers because actions speak louder than words. Kind of already spoke about this in it previously, but it's good to bear repeating this again. When we do good, it's the seeds, it's the harvest that it's the preparation for the better harvest to come. As I mentioned with the Divaldo movie, where he sat there and he adopts a little girl, not knowing that it is the reincarnation of his obsessor's mother. And this is one of those things that it did speak louder than words. What are other things that go on out there? What are some other activities? I used to see, when back in the days when we had the conflicts in the Middle East, and I would see soldiers coming home, or I'd see them in a restaurant, and there would be, I remember one time I saw a family, they're enjoying a dinner at Chili's. It ended up being that there were 3 people willing to pay for that soldier's meal, myself and 2 others. So we it ended up being that we all chipped in $20 for this family of 4 to have a meal for free, including the tip. And it was a wonderful thing, and this family didn't know. When they asked for the check and everything else, and they says, "Oh, it's already been paid for." Other people saw you as a soldier and wanted to show you that thing out there. And this is a positive thing to do. Even though we just celebrated Memorial Day and this goes with it, it doesn't have to be limited to service members and everything else. I've seen that too. I've seen people, like, I've been to Target I'm sitting there waiting in line, and I have someone there they're out of money. They brought in, they only had $40, and their bill came to be $47 after tax. And I says, you know what? I'll pay the additional 7. Give her the 40, I'll pay the additional 7. And that brightened her day. Just sitting there looking at, oh, what am I going to give up? What am I going to give up? Good actions are the best prayers because they speak louder than words. Let's keep focusing on this. How can we keep doing good for others? Because this radiates out. I don't know if anyone saw the movie back in the 90s of Pay It Forward, where he, this little child sets up a system where he says, I'm going to do 3 good things to 3 different people and ask them to do 3 good things to the other people. So it would ripple out. 3 would become 9. 9 would become 27, and on and on and on, hoping for an outcome that he wanted. Well, he didn't get exactly what he wanted in the movie. He did get what he wanted. It just didn't come out the way he liked it. We also have to keep that in mind, too, when God works and the spirits, the mentors, work with us. They can see a broader view, a bigger view, and maybe what we want may be too limited versus what they can see, what the greatness things that they've got planned for us, or what's in our spiritual plan. Prayer cannot change the decrees of providence, but when suffering spirits see that someone has shown some interest in them by means of prayer, they feel less forsaken and are less unhappy. Prayer can't sit there and change the future, change the past, but it does assuage it. For those who've read Heaven and Hell, especially the second part, when you start reading about the suffering spirits and things like this, prayer is a healing balm to them. They feel it down to their core. It soothes them. It lifts them up. It takes away their pain. We even see this when you look at the Andre Louise series and some of these other books that are out there. Even the Manuel Miranda series about the planetary transition, where prayer helps the spirits to feel just a little bit better. It doesn't miraculously take away everything, but it does bring solace. It brings calm. It does alleviate the pain. When you pray according to your convictions and the way you believe is the most appropriate by means of nothing, a thought is everything. What is essential is sincerity and purity of intent. A good thought is worth more than many heartless and numerous words, which are like the noise of a mill. I remember this in my previous studies when they were sitting there saying, like, when you speak, you're supposed to speak with the heart, with this sincerity, with this purity of intent. And it's always troubled me because we do have things like the Lord's Prayer, which has sincerity and purity of intent in it. But if we speak it, just say the words as a formulaic prayer, does it have the same intention? Does it have the same sincerity? And it's one of the things that I look towards when I do my own self-reflection. When I say look, the Lord's Prayer, when I say Our Father or Pai Nosso for Portuguese speakers, are you saying the words? Or do you feel it? Are you actually trying to bring the power of those words to us? Feel it. Feel the sincerity. Feel the purity of intent. The notion, as it says when I talk to some Catholics, when they would always use the joke of say 3 Hail Marys and call me in the morning. That's not sincere. That's not purity of intent. You need to say the words and you have to feel it. It has to come from within. And this is where we sit there and say, like, that's a throwaway line. make your words have meaning to it, not just in a spiritual sense. When you go about in your day-to-day lives, are you sitting there and doing your job and just throwing away casual lines because you have to, or should it be changed? You said when you do your jobs, do you sit there and say, like, I say the words and I mean it? When you sit there and say, hey, when you, like a server, thank you for coming in today. How can I help you? Do you feel it? Do you feel that sincerity? If I was to say that to you, or is this one of those things where it's like, yeah, what do you want? I'll take your order. I mean, you feel that sincerity. It radiates out. But even just so, but how you present the words and how you come across, it's that sincerity and purity keeps going forward with the conviction, the good harvest. All these maxims build upon each other. God made strong and powerful individuals so that they may uphold the weak. Just as like those of us here that are participating in these spiritist studies, we are stronger spiritually because of the fact that we are participating in these studies. We are enriching ourselves. We are strengthening ourselves spiritually by reviewing these books, studying, and trying our best to live this life. In which case, and that puts us in a position where we can be charitable, humble, and help those that are weaker, not just physically, spiritually, morally. You can take this in so many different directions. But we are here as we are learning this. Let's take these teachings. How can we be better people so that as we are better people, we present that to those we meet in our day-to-day lives, show them what it means to be a good person, help them to say, hey, it's okay. You should also live and be a good person. You shouldn't be doing bad things. That when you do good, it makes life better for everyone, not just yourself. Wealth is a deposit that holders are but stewards since they cannot take it to their graves. They will render a strict account for the use they've made of it. This kind of goes back to the ideas of materialism, selfishness, greed, vanity, and all these other things. That when we throw wealth in there, if God's blessing you with having money to have bigger bank accounts and everything else, how are you using it? How are you spending it? Are you using it to improve the lives of others, or are you just improving yourself, or and denying that to others? We can always look towards Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol with Scrooge, and how he became a miser. He withheld money, didn't even spend it on himself until he got to the point where it says when he realized what was truly good in the world, which was beneficial, then he realized it's like he missed on all these good things and he wanted it back. And it didn't cost money. In fact, it was free. It puts a new spin when we sit there and say, render unto Caesar, which is Caesar's money, because God's currency is love. God's currency is respect and treating each other, charity. Those don't have a value. Those don't have a physical price, but they are so much more powerful, so much more meaningful. Going on with this, wealth is a more difficult trial than poverty because the former is a temptation of abuses and excess. It's harder to moderate than to be resigned. How many people have gone there and read about that? You see all these rich people out there, but yet they seem to be miserable. They have yachts, they have mansions, they have cars, they can have whatever they want. They don't seem to be happy. Versus we see people that don't have as much, that can have good times. where you can sit there and say, have the neighborhood barbecue. Everyone comes, everyone has a great time. No one's rich, but they enjoy themselves. They enjoy what they do have. We do see this trial that wealth doesn't necessarily bring happiness. It doesn't, and it makes, and as it says here, a more difficult trial. Going on with, and right along with it, as I have highlighted here, whoever exalts himself shall be brought low, and whoever lowers himself shall be exalted. Keeps going back with the tenets of humility and charity. We need to be humble. We need to make sure that we do not take ourselves and put ourselves over our fellow human beings. It's one of the beautiful things I love about Spiritism, and that we invite numerous speakers to come in. That we're not listening to just one person over and over again, because we do have these different points of view, and that we don't take ourselves so seriously. It's like, this is the way and the only way. No, we humble ourselves. We value these different opinions. As I mentioned before, you may not agree with everything I have, and that's okay. I'm trying to show how I'm seeing these from my points of view, and I would love to hear from your points of view. That way I can understand. That way my knowledge keeps being as goes further and deeper because of how I see this thing. I may see it just slightly different, but what you can share with me, as I've seen many, many times before, I'll listen to your saying, and it tells me something like, I never thought of it that way before. That makes sense. I can see the value in that. I will change my thinking because of that. Like I said, the Devalda movie especially brings me right to that point. I everyone I talk to says how Joanna DeAngelis is a hard spirit to read because she forces us to elevate ourselves to a higher level. And she doesn't come down to our level on certain topics. And as I watched the Devalda movie and how Joanna DeAngelis was portrayed, I saw why, in a more clear reasoning, why she does what she does. It's not because I said so approach. It's because I know you can do it. I know you are capable of stepping up. I know you are capable of growing to this level. It's done out of a sense of love that I didn't understand, but this movie that came out handled it beautifully. So my respect for Joanna DeAngelis grew out of this, and my respect for her as a spirit grew. I had I'm not a very good artist. I can do some sketches and everything else, but upon the passing of Devaldo, that was one of the images that came into my mind. If were I a talented artist that I could paint, and it was simply called The Hug, where I could see not Chico, Devaldo Franco being able to give Joanna DeAngelis a hug, because now they're in the same place. And I'm trying to stop myself from crying just even thinking about it. But it was something that was very powerful, so simple, but has such profound power within it. Charity is the supreme law of Christ. Love one another, love your neighbors yourself, forgive your enemies, and do not do unto others what you would not like them for them to do to you. So maybe I'll be summed up in the word charity. Are we doing this? Are we living this? Are we loving one another? Are we treating others as we want to be treated? Or are we not doing unto others as we don't want done to you? Doing road construction I always just say, like, when you're on the road, do you cut people off? Do you like being cut off? Do you like being given the finger? Do you like having horns blasted at you? Do you like these things? But do you do it? Are you in the, well, if they're doing it, so will I? Is that what we want to do? Is that what we want to promote? Or should we follow this? Charity. Love one another. Love your neighbor. Forgive your enemies. Do not undo unto others. Are we putting this into practice? Are we sitting back and taking the time to reflect? Do we have to be somewhere so much that we have to cut people off? Do we have to race around and get the greatest deal no matter and deny someone else who's also searching for the deal? Why? Is it a selfish need because it's that great a deal, or is it something that we doing it for our own vanity, or is it something that we could do without? Just food for thought. Things like things that I think about when I read these topics and I start thinking, like, how does this reflect in day-to-day life? And that's again part of what I was doing this for you. Charity does not always consist of almsgiving. There's charity in thoughts, words, and deeds. Those who are charitable in thought are tolerant towards the faults of their neighbor, and who are charitable in words say nothing that might harm their neighbor. Those who are charitable in deeds assist their neighbor to the best of their ability. It's funny, I read these words and I keep saying, like, when I look at the close circle of friends that we have, most of my closest friends are here within the Spiritist movement because of this charity. Because there are moments where I may not need money, but I need a charitable word. I may need a hug. Brazilians are great at that. I always love going to Brazilian communities where they give hugs. One of my favorite things. I think we need to bring that here to the United States. It's like you meet someone, give them a hug. Poor individuals who share their piece of bread with someone even poorer and more charitable have more merit in God's eyes. Those who nourish sentiments of animosity, hatred, jealousy, and rancor towards their neighbor are not charitable. They lie if they call themselves Christian, and they offend God. I know I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm going to fast forward through. Thankfully, we're coming close to the end here. You of all social classes, religious sects, skin colors are all brothers and sisters because God calls all of you to him. Reach out your hand to one another. Treat each other as brothers and sisters, no matter who you are, where you're from, skin color, creed, class, sex, all of this stuff. Very powerful words. And it is something that I try to practice on a day-to-day basis. Despite seeing things in the news, despite seeing things on TV and everything else, or how things are in certain places, I try to remember that everyone is a brother and sister. Some are better, some are worse. They're still a brother and sisters. And it's not just because of age, mentality. Anyone does have a larger family, larger than three, can kind of see where this going with this, because they can sit there and say, like, yeah, you get the one younger brother or sister, or one older brother and sister that is either a pain in the butt, or we all have the differences, but you love them as a brother or sister. This is going to be my last slide here. So, only by basing your institutions on charity can they be assured of happiness in the world. There will be no more selfishness, pride, hatred, jealousy, or defamation. Without charity, there is no salvation. As we're reading through the doctrine teaches, we know that we are progressing into the next world. We are progressing towards a world of regeneration. planetary transition, Devalda book says we're already on the way. We're already well into the transition. And that there will be no more selfishness, pride, hatred, jealousy, defamation. And we will have spirits that are reincarnating, as well as their mentors and things that are going to help guide us to get us through there faster. And this charity is not because they're charity to us, also is a call of action for us that we also must have this charity. We must do our part to remove selfishness, pride, hatred, jealousy, and defamation from our lives, so that we also will be saved as we go forth and save others. This is not a one-person effort. This is a communal effort. This is the whole world effort, and it's not just physical, it's spiritual beings as well. So I'm going to stop my sharing here, hand this back over to the other Brian. I don't know if we have any question and answers, or if we're going to just go over into the healing session.
Wow, thank you, Brian. Thank you for bringing Spiritism in its simplest form here today. I myself, I've been away for quite some time with my work and things that have been going on with life. Take care of my mother. Just life has been moving so fast and so busy. But I've been able to do my prayers and meditations, and that's what's kept me connected to God. But it's so nice and peaceful and loving too. And I'm going to turn this around because I also want to share with others what I've shared this morning. I'm in this beautiful backyard. I'm listening to talk about God's love and our progression and our moral integrity and how to live day by day, and how to become educated, but not only education, but be disciplined to put it to work. And I'm kind of lost with words because I'm kind of in this Zen state, listening to you and communing here with nature right now. It is work every day, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, and even when we're asleep, as our spirit goes to wherever we have our vibration, our frequency, and we connect with that in our sleep, in the spirit world. I like to be able to put my head down at night and reflect upon my day, see what I've done. Have I been a better person than I was yesterday? Am I a better person this evening than I was in the morning or during the day? And ask God to take me where I need to go in the spirit world when my body rests, so that I can keep learning and bring that back here and apply it here to bring heaven on earth, like the Lord's Prayer. Yeah, you mentioned about the Lord's Prayer and also speaking from the heart. And there are times when I say the Lord's Prayer and I don't feel it, and there's other times when I feel it in its deepest, simplest expression, which bring tears to my eyes. Just as you brought tears to my eyes when you spoke about Devaldo and Joanna DeAngelis. She is a very difficult spirit to read, but I have noticed that through my evolution as a spirit, working with sisters and brothers here in the center, and as well as brothers and sisters who are not part of Spiritism, but somehow they're still walking the walk alive, and even ones who aren't. And I'm losing my train of thought, but Joanna DeAngelis. Today, she doesn't make my head spin and my eyes spin trying to understand what she's trying to explain to us, to connect us to this higher level, this higher plane. It's easier today, but she still can be very challenging. And instead of fretting and being frustrated with that challenge. I embrace that challenge. Just as I do with everything in life, there are times when, yeah, I can, oh man, why is it so tough? But then I realize, it's a part of our evolution. What I'm facing right now is going to make me a better person. And what I'm facing, other people are facing it. And even if they're not facing it, I can help plant a seed so that when they do face it, they can go through it too.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when, you know, someone's going through a death and you're not. And you get to see what death is like through their eyes at that moment of grief. And then next thing you know, you're facing. And that, in a way, it helps you because if you're living that spiritist life, you have less baggage, you have more freedom of your spirit, where those memories can come flooding right back to you to help you through those moments. Spiritism has been such a blessing in my life since I discovered it in 2012 and discovered the center, connected with Tanya. Just so gifted in so many ways. Thank you, Brian, for your presentation today.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share.
You know, I love that. Do unto others, you want others to do unto you. You driving, are you screaming? You driving, do you flip them a bird? Are you cutting people off, you know? And I say that to say, I try to correct all my issues that come up. And I got a surprise the other day, you know, because we're always being taught you never know who's listening, and be the example that you want to others to see from your own learning. Well, my sister surprised me the other day when she said, you know, Gina, I thought about you and I don't want no karma, so I didn't do such and such. I said, racked up laughing. I didn't laugh out loud, but I was smiling, man. I said, that is huge. For her to listen is huge. So it's to me, that just puts that, the words, the thought, the love, the prayer, all comes together, and trusting the words are living words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do vibrate. And I'm so grateful because it made even me a better person as well as herself. Anyway, I'm not gonna hog this space, you know that. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, where have you been? I'm living close to you. I'm here in Jacksonville, in St. John's, and
Ooh.
2 hours of you,
Little
less
more than
than.
that. It
Oh,
takes me 3 hours to get to Orlando. And when I lived in Orlando and used to go up
you're
to,
not in Orlando.
I used to.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get back. I really, really do want to get back to Orlando, but right now I'm in Sarasota. I'm an hour south of Tampa.
Oh, it's beautiful there too. It's not too far away either, no? But
No,
I love your topic. I love your presentation. I believe over that, now almost 10 years old, I brought that book from Brazil in English to our group. We have been in Sacramento since 2012.
hmm
And this group are practically together for as long, and studying all the books. Listen to you is like a summary, isn't it, guys? It's like a summary from all we have studied, and I need a remind. We always need a remind. We studying the introduction to spiritism time to time. The same people come back because we need it.
hmm
We need a good remind. I love the way you express the charitable part of spiritism, because that is the most for me. is the most important part, always important, very important, intellectual, the philosophy, the science, but putting your hands on service, serving others. Our center are based in Sacramento on charitable for healing. We start that doing service. And during that time, we have hundreds of people come, thousands of people throughout the years. And, you know, I get emotion because I miss hands-on healing. I miss the physical part of our center. Our center was very famous there for hugging each other. People love to come to feel the presence, the warmer part of us, because nobody want to leave. Have you seen spiritual center that everybody's at the door before starting, and no one want to go to leave to go home after almost 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
because we do studying the first hours and healing on the second part. No one want to go home.
When I
So I
started with when I started with Love and Light, that was kind of like the thing we did. It was like, even though we do the Portuguese and English groups at the same time, always. So even though the English group was smaller, we'd have our small little classroom off to the side, and the Portuguese had the big lecture hall. We
Mhm.
always worked at the same time. We'd always come through and do the healing past the same time with both
Really.
groups and everything else. And then we'd come out, and granted, the Portuguese side was larger, so we would come out, and there would be coxinhas, empanadas, and all this other
Yes.
stuff. Traditional Brazilian fare, pão de queijo. It was still we still would come around and we would sit there and enjoy a meal afterwards, sharing everything
Mhm.
together, even though we had different groups.
We did that, but we didn't have coxinhas and pão de queijos, the bread cheese and coxinhas. Regina knows the word coxinhas, no?
Mhm.
Brian. But we, unfortunately, our Brazilian community there was not too big, and it's more based in American group. And about Divaldo in 2006, when we met him in Lilydale in a workshop. When I came to the US the first time, I met my husband, he's American. I met him in Brazil. And I came to visit, and Divaldo said to us, you both have a mission on healing, as Dr. Bezerra is giving us a message that you are going to work on healing. And but I will ask a particular things for you guys, specifically for you both. I don't want the spirit asking you to not do anything Portuguese. We are here in this country to spread the seeds to the American people. Try your best. I didn't speak English. These people have been so lovely, charitable, and respectful to me throughout these years, because I could not speak in English, but the love, isn't it? The love was the words that everybody understood and put everybody together to today. And I really appreciate all the remind, the charitable part. Regina, our president of the center today, she has this beautiful service in Sacramento for helping the homeless. And you have no idea how hard it is for us to putting the group together to donate, to buy the food. She's using most of her retirement paycheck every month to not let them without the food every week. So I want to use to this morning, Regina and I was talking about this. We need some more speech in charitable. And I think God listened to us and did not know you were going to speak and present in this topic. And I really want everybody, not just here on the BSH Center, but wherever you are, put your hands on service, because our brothers and sisters are in this condition this time because they choose. They ask for this mission, and we have the opportunity they are giving to us to manifest what we have been learning. Now to materialize, to show God we have been a good student. So thank you very much. I wish you come back many times. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
And thanks,
Appreciate it.
Kiki. She's the one that helped me pick the topic. I gave her 3 topics and she chose this one. So.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
That was very interesting for me to hear. As Tanya said, it was a summary of all what we need in our life to be successful, to be really ourselves, to find ourselves, to know ourselves. As you said, that was 3 things. Even I don't understand everything in English, but 3 things I found out that touched my heart. The first one was that you said, those who ask God for forgiveness, they won't get it if they don't change their behavior. Most of us, we ask God, please forgive us for I did that. And we do it again and again. And we think God will forgive us for he sacrificed himself to forgive us. That's not true. That is, he showed us how we can sacrifice us for the other people in love. And so long that we don't change our behavior, I'm sure that we cannot find the truth. And the second one was the charity, that you say the charity is, that is in Zarathustra, the earlier religion in Persian, in Iran, that said 3 laws is good for you. The first is your thought, change thought good, talk good, and do good. These 3 are very important, especially the word that we use, that we can change the word with our words. How nice when we have love in ourselves, it comes out from us. And the word will be nice, can help the other people, can heal the people. And our thought comes first from our thought. What we do, first we have thought about that, then bring in the word, and then bring in the action. And that is very important, how we think. That is what we think is very important. Yeah, and the other thing that was very important for me, that I try to act, that to realize that, is that you said that we have a lot, we are like a flower, and our faith is like a flower, and can shine, bring light. And when we don't get the weeds out of around that, it will dry. And you said the weeds, what they are, jealous and hate and this one. Thank you very much for your presentation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian. I really appreciate the presentation. That has many things that I took away from the presentation. It's a great reminder. As something that always I am reminded of is that the Spiritism is a great contribution. It's a gift of Christ to humanity. It's not a property or any group or any nation, anything, because this is universal teachings. So basically, the greatest contribution of Spiritism is to transform oneself, because we live in a vibratory world. And that's how we influence others. By our own transformation, we affect everybody around us. So that's the purpose of being in this world. For example, if you work with civil engineer, if you work with education, if you work with whatever field of choice you have, that's your contribution, is take care of yourself, spiritualize yourself, but spiritualize the field that you work with, because that's how great the Spiritism is. So we Brazilians, we're not here to proselytize. We don't have that interest. However, it is with our example that we share this knowledge of the Spiritism that brought to us by Allan Kardec, who was also another vehicle. So, but the teachings is from our greatest brother, Jesus, that brought this universal knowledge. And we are here sharing right now. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brian, I will say my experience about studying John Evangelist's writings. It helps a lot to get an old American dictionary and look up the words that make you stumble and grasp the meaning that fits in the concept that's being presented. Because otherwise, you just don't get traction. That's my experience. My favorite's the Old American Heritage Dictionary, probably made in the 70s or 80s, but it has the old, earlier translations, meanings of various words, and there's one in there that fits. But without going to the part that makes you stumble or makes you disinterested or distracted when you study, the huge value is lost. That's my 2 cents. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, you got the thing together. It's where the rubber meets the road. You got it, brother.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm reading this. This is a study book that we're doing a Joanna DiAngelo series with Love and Light, New Jersey on Thursdays. And we're currently in this book here, this Conscious Being. It is a tough read. It is, and like you said, we hit Google, we search a lot of these words. One of the more interesting thing is trying to identify. She pulls in a lot of psychiatrists or psychologists in this book that required us to sit down and do a lot of Google search just to see who they're talking about. She mentions Carl Jung, but there's so many others she references, and it's interesting to see how psychologists have treated them in the time ring that even since Joanna DiAngelo even wrote this book. But that's getting off topic.
Thank you very much
Next
for the great
topic, no?
presentation.
Well, thank you, Brian, for enlightening us today. We were blessed to have you, and we look forward to